Yo, what's up, guys? It's Noah here. Today we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Christmas Day. I'm recording this video a couple days early before the Christmas Day slate. I'm actually recording this video on Monday night. It's about midnight Monday night on the 23rd. I will be posting this video Christmas Eve morning, so Tuesday morning. I'm going to schedule it to go live at 8:30 Eastern Time in the morning on Tuesday morning. So I'm uploading this video about 26 hours before the slate actually starts. There are some injuries we're going to have to watch as we head into the slate on Wednesday. Anthony Davis and LeBron are both questionable. I mean, I would expect both guys play for Christmas Day. I mean, this is a big-time matchup against the Clippers. I think it's unlikely that you see these guys sit this one out. So I'm going into this slate thinking AD and LeBron play. But we will need to watch that as we head into Wednesday. Obviously, if those guys are out, I mean, that's going to greatly impact things. Gordon Hayward's listed as questionable, but he is expected to play on Wednesday. Marcus Smart did practice on Monday, but it's still unlikely that he plays. I don't really think that's going to impact much, though. And then Patrick Beverley, I guess, is questionable as well. But really, the big injuries we're going to need to watch heading into Wednesday are Anthony Davis and LeBron. And like I said, I expect both guys to probably play, just given the matchup and just given like the Christmas Day narrative or whatever. Christmas Day, I guess, like matchup, marquee matchup. Primetime game, like I don't see Anthony Davis and LeBron sitting this one out. I mean, I think the Lakers played on Sunday. They're going to have like 2 days to rest before this game, like 2 or 3 full days to rest. Like these guys are going to be ready to go. So I'm going into this slate thinking that pretty much everyone's healthy, at least the guys that we know are going to be healthy. I mean, obviously guys like Curry, Siakam are still going to be out. But we're going to break down this Christmas Day slate, go position by position. I'll hit on the players that I like the most. We'll talk about 5 players I like specifically for DraftKings, and then we'll look at Yahoo as well. Both sites are running huge tournaments for the Christmas Day slate. DraftKings has a $25, $2.5 million tournament with $1 million to first. They're also doing a $50K stocking bonus, which is going to be a shot at $50K for hitting the steals plus blocks bonus. So I'm guessing every lineup in the Holiday Millionaire that scores 20 plus steals, blocks combined will split a share. So I guess if you just have a lineup where you have a lot of guys get steals and blocks, you'll have a split of that 50K. I have to imagine like that 50K is going to be split probably thousands and thousands of ways. So even if you do get a split of it, you're probably only getting like $5. But I mean, it's extra money that DraftKings is adding, so that's very nice of them to add 50K to the prize pool. Yahoo is also adding 50K to their prize pool as well. Yahoo's running a 200K baller for the Christmas Day NBA slate with 50K in guaranteed overlay. It's a great tournament. It's a $10 entry fee and it's 20 entry max, so you can only enter up to 20 times. There will be pros in this tournament, but the pros can only enter 20 lineups. Me personally, I'm going to have 20 lineups in this tournament. I think it's one of the best tournaments to play on Christmas Day. I mean, there's going to be overlay, I would imagine. I mean, there's already guaranteed overlay, but I don't know if this tournament's going to fill or not. I mean, as of Monday night, it's got 5,000 entries, so maybe it does fill by Wednesday at 12, but we'll just have to wait and see. Still, both sides running huge tournaments. Love this Christmas Day slate. You got every game like back to back to back, so you get to watch each game one at a time. You don't have games going on at the same time, so always makes for a fun slate. Always makes for like a fun slate to sweat. Always want to let you guys know, like with late swap, you definitely need to be utilizing late swap on these Christmas Day slates. Like going into the late night games, if you have lineups where you got like, or you have lineups that are doing really bad and you have chalky guys left in the late night games, you can definitely pivot off of those chalky guys, move into some lower owned guys. Always recommend doing that. You definitely want to be checking your lineups throughout the day, seeing what kind of swaps you can make if you need to, depending on how your lineups are doing. Even if it's only like checking, or after each game, so maybe after the 12 o'clock game at like 2 o'clock, check your phone. After the 2:30 game, check your phone. So maybe like 4:30, make a couple swaps if you need to. After the Houston Golden State game around like 7:30 before the Clippers-Lakers game starts, check your phone, check your lineups, see what kind of swaps you can make if you need to. Always recommend doing that. So before we get started looking at some of my favorite plays for this Christmas Day slate, guys, as always, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new and click that notification bell so that way you get notified every time I upload. You can also follow me on Twitter, link down below, at DFS by Noah. Also, you do have about 24 hours by the time this video goes up to get into the Patreon $100 free roll contest. I am running a $100 free roll contest for this Christmas Day slate. The link is posted on Patreon. If you want to get access to the link and get access to join the contest, be able to join the contest, you will need to be a Patreon member. So if you are ever thinking about joining the Patreon, now would probably be a good time. If you join by Christmas, by 12 o'clock, you will have access to the link to join this contest. And I ran a poll on Patreon, and most of my members decided that we're going to do a top three, or like for the payout structure, we're going to do top three win rather than doing it winner take all. So rather than doing just $100 to first, we're going to do $50 to first, $30 to second, and then $20 to third place. Going to make the payout structure a little bit even, so that way we have three winners rather than just one. It's a free contest to enter. I will PayPal you the money after the contest is over. So either late Christmas Day night or even on the 26th, like Thursday morning on the 26th, I'll get in touch with the winners, PayPal you guys the money, so that way you can get your winnings. And for all my Patreon members that are watching this video, good luck in the contest. Hope to see you guys in towards the top of the leaderboards. Hopefully you guys do well. I'll be in the contest, and if I somehow place top third, I'll just give whoever's below me will get the winning. So if I get second, whoever's in third will get the second place prize, and then whoever's in fourth will get the third place prize. But I did want to at least have one of my lineups in there as well, so I can compete with you guys. So definitely check out the Patreon. You can see all the content I have to offer over there. And like I said, if you join by Christmas, you will be invited to join this $100 free roll contest. But yeah, before we get started, wanted to wish you guys a Merry Christmas as well. I should have done that at the beginning of the video, but hopefully you guys have a great day. If you're spending it with family, if you're just chilling at the house watching basketball, have a great Christmas. I'm recording this video on Christmas Eve, I'm recording it. It just turned Christmas Eve. It's 12 o'clock a.m. on the 23rd. But hopefully you guys have a great day. I'm going to be pretty busy on Christmas Eve and on Christmas Day, like traveling and stuff. Hanging out with family, so that's why I wanted to get the video up a couple days early rather than trying to scramble and upload it late Christmas Eve night when I probably wouldn't have much time. So let's start off at point guard. Did enough talking, plugged everything. Let's go ahead and break down the slate. So at point guard, James Harden, most expensive option at the position, and he is the most expensive player on the slate. He is $11,600 on Draftkings, and over on Yahoo, Harden is also the most expensive player on the slate at $53. One thing to note is that Yahoo did make their pricing pretty soft for this Christmas Day slate. That's something that Draftkings usually does as well, but they didn't do it this year. Pretty much kept their pricing the same. Yahoo, though, priced down a lot of guys. Like Harden was probably $58, $59 he's pretty much been $58, $59 the whole season. He's down to $53 today. Giannis has been $56, $58, $59 the whole season. He's down to $50 today, so you're going to hear me say this a lot, but pretty much everybody is too cheap on Yahoo today. But with Harden, 11-6 against the Warriors, there is obviously a ceiling for Harden in this matchup. He's already faced the Warriors once this season. 74 Draftkings points in 35 minutes, had a monster game. I'm not sure if Westbrook played in that game. I can check real quick just to see. Yeah, Westbrook played in that game. Harden still had 75 DK points. It makes sense. This Warriors team, not good defensively. They ranked 24th in defensive rating. We know this is definitely a team you can pick on. Since I'm recording this video on Monday night, we don't have totals and spreads yet. I'm seeing some totals on Yahoo. They've got posted some game totals. Boston Toronto at 213.5 with Toronto 2.5 point dogs. Philly and Milwaukee has a 225 total with Philly as 1.5 point home favorites. Don't see a total yet for the Golden State game, Houston game, or the Clippers-Lakers, or even the New Orleans-Denver game. So we don't know yet what the spread's going to look like here. I imagine even with Golden State at home, they're probably going to be big underdogs. But I don't really worry about that with Harden and with Westbrook. D'Antoni just runs these guys into the ground. They're going to play huge minutes even if the game stays close. So obviously, Harden's a good play on this slate, but I do prefer Giannis. And when we get to small forward, power forward, we'll talk more about Giannis when we get there. I've said this so much this season, I want to target Giannis when he's going to be in competitive games, and this is a game that's expected to stay close, even though it's a tough matchup. If we're going to get 34, 36 minutes of Giannis, that's when I want to roster him. So Harden's more of a secondary stud option. I do prefer to pay up for Giannis today. LeBron, I expect he plays 9,900 against the Clippers. Not a good matchup, but LeBron definitely a little bit too cheap for 9,900. I expect him to get up for this game and try and play well. This is a big-time game. this is probably going to be the Western Conference Finals at the end of the season. Like, these are going to be the two teams fighting for a spot in the finals. So, love LeBron as well. He's more of a secondary stud option, though, as well, because I will be prioritizing Giannis. Kyle Lowry, someone I want to talk about on Yahoo. So, I mean, he's too cheap on Yahoo along with everybody else, but Lowry at $32 really stands out, even in a pretty tough matchup at home against Boston. Like, Lowry is just playing huge minutes right now. We just look at his last 4 games, 39, 40, 41, 43 minutes. Like, they're just running him into the ground. It was an overtime game against the Pacers on Monday night. He still played, like, if we do the math, he still played like 38, 39 minutes at the end of regulation. His usage rate is through the roof right now with no Siakam, no Marc Gasol, no Norman Powell. Like, Lowry is just doing everything. He's scoring a ton. He's getting a ton of assists, nearly double-digit assists in like 5 straight games, at least 9 assists in 5 straight games. I think it's likely we get like 25 and 10 from Lowry. Easily could go for 40-plus fantasy points. $32 on Yahoo, that's just too cheap when you compare his price to guys like D'Angelo Russell. I mean, Russell I like a lot at 27, but I would still prefer Lowry for $5 more. He's cheaper than Kemba. He's cheaper than Ben Simmons. Like, give me Lowry over all those guys. Really like him on Yahoo for this Christmas Day slate. On DraftKings, I think he's a decent play as well at $8,500. Just don't think he's like a lock and load like he is on Yahoo. D'Angelo Russell is someone I like a ton, though, on this Christmas Day slate. I like him a lot on both sides. $7,400 on DK, $27 on Yahoo. We know that D'Angelo Russell is just getting a ton of usage right now. We can look at his usage with his Warriors team when we take Steph Curry off the floor. I mean, D'Angelo Russell is like the main beneficiary here. Just this season with Curry off the floor, 33% usage rate, averaging 1.18 fantasy points per minute, 36% assist percentage. Like, he's just doing everything for this team. It's a great matchup as well. Pace-up spot here for the Warriors. Right now, the Warriors rank 16th in pace this season. The Rockets rank 3rd, so nice pace-up spot. The Rockets have struggled against guards this season, so you can definitely take like point guards and shooting guards against them. Westbrook and Harden, like, they're not really known for their defense. If we look at their defensive rating, I don't think they've been that good of a defensive team. They've just kind of been middle of the pack. Yeah, they're ranked 16th in defensive rating. So it's like in terms of like DVP matchup, I think it's good. Overall defense, it's just kind of like a mediocre matchup. But given how fast the Rockets play, I think it winds up overall being a good matchup here, given the pace-up spot. Russell in a fast-paced game, I think he can definitely thrive. We've seen him play really well in fast-paced games this season. Really like him on both sides, $7,400 on DK, $27 on Yahoo. Other point guards, though, I really like Fred VanVleet at $7K on DraftKings. I think he's underpriced on DK just for what his role is right now. In the 3 games he's played since coming back from injury, he's played 34, 28, and 41 minutes. In that game where he played 28 minutes, I believe he was dealing with some injury in that game, along with the bench just getting a lot of run there. I mean, he's been very productive in the games where he's played big minutes, 42 and 48 DraftKings points in those 2 games. I'd expect big minutes from him again in this game. His numbers are also really good this season when you take all of those 3 guys off the floor, Siakam, Gasol, and Norman Powell. We can run the numbers just real quick with Gasol, Powell, and Siakam off. I mean, we know the guys that are going to benefit, but I just want to show you the numbers just to give you some confirmation. So this season, Fred VanVleet's played 81 minutes with those 3 guys off the floor, so not that big of a sample size. 30% usage rate, though, so he leads the team in usage. 25% assist percentage, only averaging about 1 fantasy point per minute, but I would imagine as we get more of a sample size with these guys off the floor, as VanVleet starts to play more minutes with these guys off the floor, those numbers are going to increase. But just seeing that he leads the team in usage with those 3 guys off the floor is definitely encouraging. It's a tough matchup against Boston. It's not an ideal spot, but $7K for VanVleet, like, he could easily go for 6 to 7x value on this salary. I do prefer him over a lot of the other 7K guards. It's close between him and D'Angelo Russell. I think I feel safer with VanVleet for a little bit cheaper, even in a tougher matchup, but both guys I think have a ton of upside for their salaries, and I do like both guys quite a bit. I really like VanVleet over on Yahoo as well at shooting guard, $29, definitely one of my favorite shooting guard plays. But Alec Burks is someone I want to talk about on both sides. So he's $5,600 on DK, and on Yahoo he's $17 at shooting guard. He's definitely an early look kind of guy that I really like on both sides. So he's been playing really big minutes recently. Glenn Robinson did miss on Monday. Since the Warriors do have a full day of rest and pretty much almost 2 full days of rest before this game starts. I think Glenn Robinson probably gets back into the starting lineup and does play this game. With Glenn Robinson out on Monday, we did see Alec Burks draw the start, along with Damian Lee, D'Angelo Russell, obviously, Draymond Green, and Willie Cauley-Stein. So Burks started for Robinson on Monday. If Robinson plays Wednesday, I expect he starts, but you'll still get big minutes from Alec Burks, even coming off the bench. I mean, just the last few games coming off the bench, he's played 33, 30 minutes, 34, 40 DraftKings points. He's been very productive this season as well with Steph Curry off the floor. Great pace-up matchup against the Rockets. Really like Burks on both sides. He definitely stands out as just one of the better overall mid-range options. And given that there isn't a ton of really cheap value to on this Christmas Day slate, that could all change obviously if LeBron and AD are out. But like I said, I expect they play. So I don't think we're going to have a ton of 3K, 4K value that we love. So definitely going to be looking to some mid-range builds. And I really like Burks at 5,600. Also, I think Dante DiVincenzo's in play, 5,300 if you want to go to him. He continues to play about 30 minutes a game. With Eric Bledsoe out, he's going to continue to start. In competitive games, he's playing about 30 minutes, and I think this game's going to stay close. So we should probably get 30 minutes from DiVincenzo today or on Wednesday. 5,300, definitely in play. Lonzo's really cheap, and he did start on Monday. If he starts again on Wednesday, I mean, we're not going to know that before lock. This is a 10:30 game. This is the last game of the night, and lock's at 12 o'clock. So we are not going to know what the Nuggets starting or the Pelicans starting lineup is. But if Lonzo starts again, I mean, he's a fine value at 4,500. I don't love him. He hasn't been that great of a point per minute player this season. I think he's averaged 0.8 fantasy points per minute. It's a tough matchup as well. But still getting Lonzo probably playing 30, 32 minutes at 4,500. I would feel safer with him. I would feel better projecting him for 30 to 32 minutes if he is starting. So would have a little bit of interest there at 4,500. Patrick McCall continues to start with Norman Powell out, along with Siakam and Gasol out as well. We're seeing them start OG at the 4, and then they're moving McCall into the starting lineup at small forward. The last 3 games he started 34, 26, and 20 minutes. The minutes are definitely inconsistent. We saw Rondae Hollis-Jefferson get a lot of minutes off the bench in Monday's game against the Pacers, and I think that's probably going to continue. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we eventually see Rondae Hollis-Jefferson move into the starting lineup. So even though McCall's been starting recently, probably don't want to go there, even though he's really cheap. So I think that's it for point guard. Let's go ahead and move on to shooting guard. Pretty much at the top of the position, I've already talked about a lot of the guys I like at the top. Harden and Russell, I both have plenty of interest in. Just in this mid-range, I think Lou Williams feels a little bit too cheap today. 5,800 on DraftKings against the Lakers. We know that Kawhi, PG are going to be healthy for this game. Patrick Beverley could potentially be out, but that doesn't really affect Lou Williams a ton. We know Lou Williams, even coming off the bench, he's probably going to play 28 to 30 minutes against the Lakers for 5,800. It's not that great of a matchup, but Lou Williams just has too much upside to avoid at this salary, so definitely have interest in him. Damian Lee, I love on this slate on Yahoo. Over on Yahoo, Damian Lee is still minimum salary at small forward. I think he is one of the best value plays on the slate, at least as of now. And just looking at the small forward position, if you're not paying up for Kawhi at 39, there really isn't much I'm in love with in the mid-range. Tobias at 29, Brown at 26, Middleton at 25. I mean, those guys are fine plays, but I feel like a lot of my small forward exposure on Yahoo, it's either going to go to Kawhi at the top or to someone like Dante DiVincenzo at 14 or Damian Lee at $10. We've seen Damian Lee play pretty big minutes just the last few games. He continues to start as well. He's played 25, 34, 24, 34 minutes the last 4 games. If Glenn Robinson is out, I would feel better projecting Lee for probably 32 to 34 minutes. But still, I mean, pace-up matchup against the Rockets, I definitely have interest in Damian Lee where he's only $10 on Yahoo. I think he is one of the better value plays, just at least as of now. On DraftKings, I still have interest in him, but at 5,400, he's not a lock and load value play for me like he is over on Yahoo. Then under 5K for value at shooting guard, really isn't much I like here. Just looking at the slate on Monday night, there really isn't much that stands out. So let's go ahead and move over to the small forward position. And at small forward, I definitely want to talk about Giannis. So Giannis has just been an absolute beast this season in terms of fantasy production. We can look at his numbers with Eric Bledsoe off the floor, since we know that Eric Bledsoe is going to be out for this game. With Bledsoe off the floor this season, Giannis is averaging 1.94, so nearly 2 fantasy points per minute. He has a 39% usage rate, 40% assist percentage, nearly a 20% total rebound percentage, and that's in 416 minutes, so it's a pretty big sample size. Like, Giannis is just a beast in terms of points per minute. It's so hard for him to fail, like, at this salary at 11.3 if he's going to play 32, 34, maybe even close to 36 minutes, and I expect him to play about that amount, given that this is going to be it's going to be a competitive game. Right now, I think it has a 2-point spread. Philly's favored by 2. Like, getting Giannis in competitive games, that's what we want. We want Giannis when he's going to play 32, 34 minutes. And even if it somehow blows out, like, Giannis is such a productive player that in 28, 26 minutes, he can still put up 55, 60 DraftKings points, which doesn't kill you at the salary. There's just so much upside for him, though, in games where he's playing his full minutes with how productive he's been this season. I know it's not a good matchup against Philly. Like, they have really good defenders. Horford's a good defender. Embiid can defend. Like, these guys could give Giannis a little bit of trouble, but, like, they're not going to shut down Giannis. Like, he's going to find ways to be productive on the glass, just getting to the paint, getting assists. Like, he can just do so much. He's my top stud on this Christmas Day slate. I'm going to be locking him in on both sites. 11.3 on DraftKings, $50 on Yahoo. Love Giannis since we're going to get him in a competitive game. That's what I want. But then other small forwards, I talked about LeBron. I do like him quite a bit. Kawhi Leonard, I definitely have interest in. He's probably my next favorite small forward to go to, especially on Yahoo because he's at small forward, whereas Giannis is like at power forward. And if you just look at the small forward position, like I said, if I'm not paying up for Kawhi at $39, I think Kawhi is definitely underpriced on Yahoo at $39. Then I'm probably just going cheap with either DiVincenzo at 14 or Damian Lee at 10. So I do like Kawhi quite a bit. I do like him quite a bit if I can pay up at small forward, power forward. Like, I'm going to be prioritizing getting Giannis into my lineups on this slate, but definitely will try and get Kawhi in there as well. I mean, we know he's going to be a productive player. His usage rate is through the roof this season with the Clippers. But then other small forwards that we can maybe look to besides, like, the top 3 guys, just in the mid-range, I think a guy like Will Barton makes some sense against the Pelicans, especially on Yahoo where he's small forward, $23. Fast-paced game against the Pelicans, pace-up spot. I know he faced them once this season, or maybe not. I thought he faced the Pelicans once this season. But Will Barton tends to play well in pace-up matchups, so I could see going to him in the mid-range at 6,600. Draymond Green, I think, still a little bit too cheap at 6,100. He's playing like 32, 34 minutes, which we weren't expecting. Steve Kerr came out and said they're going to limit Draymond Green to like 27 minutes a game, but that just hasn't been the case lately. In games that are close, Draymond's playing pretty much his full minutes. In a fast-paced game against the Rockets where there's going to be a lot of shot opportunities, a lot of rebound opportunities, just potential for Draymond Green to pick up the peripherals, do have quite a bit of interest in him. Damian Lee, I talked about, I like quite a bit. OG, I think, is definitely in play at 5,400. Need to keep an eye on this Toronto starting lineup. I would not be surprised if Rondé Hollis-Jefferson moves into the starting lineup, just given how well he's played off the bench the last few games. I don't know why they're starting Patrick McCall to begin with. So keep an eye on that. This is the 12 o'clock game, so this is the first game on the slate. We will have a Raptors starting lineup before lock, so we will know. Definitely keep an eye on that. If Rondé Hollis-Jefferson does move into the starting lineup, I would have quite a bit of interest in him at 5,300. Would feel much better about him playing like 30, 32 minutes rather than like 24 or like 22, 24 minutes, which is probably what he gets coming off the bench. DiVincenzo, 5,300, I like as well, with him starting now and playing pretty solid minutes, 28 to 30 minutes. Under 5K, though, for value plays at small forward. Like, Erick Pascal feels really cheap at 4,100, but he just hasn't been doing much recently. I'm not sure what he's doing in Monday night's game against the Timberwolves. Honestly, I don't think he's having that great of a game. I can actually check that real quick just to see what he's doing. I know he didn't start. Even with Glenn Robinson out, they started Draymond at the 4 and Willie Cauley-Stein at the 5. So coming off the bench in the fourth quarter of Monday night's game against the Timberwolves, Pascal has 8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, a block in 15 minutes. So he's played 15 minutes off the bench heading into the fourth quarter, which isn't great. I mean, his minutes have definitely been up and down. He's been injured the last few games, which hasn't really helped either. Like, I could see taking a shot on him at 4,100 just because he's so cheap and he has been a productive player this season when given the minutes. He wouldn't be like a core value for me, though, and I don't think there's really any core values I see at small forward. At least as of Monday night, there's nothing I really like here. So let's go ahead and move over to the power forward position. Anthony Davis, 10,100 against the Clippers. I do have some interest in on this slate. I'm assuming he plays, and if he does play, I have interest in him, but I mean, he's going to be more of a secondary option when I look at the studs. Obviously, I love Giannis, and he's the number one stud for me. Number two stud would probably be LeBron at 9,900, then Kawhi at 8,700. Then AD would probably be like number four, so he'd be more of a secondary play. It wouldn't be a core stud option for me, but I expect him to have success in this matchup against the Clippers. I mean, it's possible that like Kawhi guards LeBron and PG guards Anthony Davis, which could definitely work. I mean, both those guys are elite defenders, but it's not like you're going to shut down LeBron and AD. Like, these dudes just do everything for the Lakers. Their usage rate, like, both of them have over a 30% usage rate this season, I believe. We know the Lakers are going to compete in this game. This game should be close. We're going to get 36, probably 38 minutes of both Anthony Davis and LeBron on Wednesday. So I do like both, just more of secondary options rather than like core studs for me. Kawhi Leonard, though, I talked about, I have interest in. Serge Ibaka, still love him on today's slate, especially on Yahoo. I mean, he's going to be one of the highest owned players on Yahoo, I would imagine, if not the highest owned player. He's only $19 at center. Just the last few games that he has started at center with Gasol out and Siakam out, he's played big minutes in all those games. 35 minutes against the Wizards. He played 41 minutes in Monday night's game against the Pacers, had 36 fantasy points. That game against Dallas, I'm not really counting, just given how good the bench was and how much they played. Most nights we're going to get probably close to 32, 34 minutes from Ibaka. That game went into overtime on Monday night against the Pacers. He played nearly 42 minutes at the end of regulation, or at the end of overtime. So at the end of regulation, you were looking at about 36 minutes from Serge Ibaka. Like, it's very likely, or it's very possible that he plays probably 35, 36 minutes here against Boston. He's been a very productive player this season with all those guys off the floor. I can run the numbers real quick with Powell, Gasol, and Siakam off the floor. I know he's been over a fantasy point per minute player. So 92 minutes with all three of those guys off the floor, 1.3 fantasy points per minute, 24% usage rate. Like, Serge Ibaka, 7,400 or 7,300 on DK. Like, he's not a must play, but I still really like him a ton, and he's definitely like one of my favorite plays in that mid-range at power forward. But on Yahoo, where he's only $19, just lock that in. Easily the best play on the slate. I'll have a ton of him on Yahoo. I expect he's probably my highest owned player overall. If not, he'll be probably second or third highest owned player for me. Love Ibaka on Yahoo. And like with Boston not having Al Horford out there, it's going to be some combo of like Daniel Tice and Enes Kanter defending Ibaka. And both those guys are definitely not good defensively, especially Enes Kanter. I mean, he's never been a good defender. So Ibaka should easily have success in this matchup. Al Horford, I think, could be the primary defender on Giannis in this game, so I expect him to play pretty big minutes. 6K, I wouldn't mind going to him as sort of a mid-range power forward if you want to go that route. Like, rarely do I play Al Horford. I don't think I've played him at all this season when Joel Embiid's healthy. Like, the only time I've played Horford is when Embiid is out. We know Embiid's going to play Wednesday, but I think we get big minutes from Horford. They're going to need him to defend Giannis, so he could be a fine play in that mid-range at 6K. Montrezl Harrell, though, I think is criminally underpriced on Draftkings today, or on Wednesday. 5,500 on DK against the Lakers. Like, it's a tough matchup. The Lakers have been really good defensively versus bigs this season. But if we just look at Montrezl Harrell, I know it was a game at the beginning of the season. That was a game that Paul George was out. Kawhi was healthy. Paul George was out, though. Harrell still played 38 minutes off the bench against the Lakers, had 34 Draftkings points. Like, even though he doesn't start and he comes off the bench, I still expect him to play probably 30, 32 minutes. Like, Harrell's been a point-per-minute player this season. 5,500 is just way too cheap for him. Like, he was 6,600 on the last slate, and now he's 5,500 today. Like, Montrezl Harrell, criminally underpriced on DK. Easily one of the best plays of the Christmas Day slate, in my opinion. On Yahoo, I do prefer Serge Ibaka, who is $5 cheaper. Like, I don't expect to play much Harrell on Yahoo. I'm going to get my exposure to him on DK, especially where you can play him at power forward and center. Under 5K, though, for value, I think Paul Millsap feels a little bit too cheap for 4,600. I mean, if we're going to get Millsap starting, playing 28 to 30 minutes against the Pelicans, definitely in play as a value. But that's probably it under 5K for value at power forward. My favorite plays here are definitely like in the mid-range. I think Montrezl Harrell really stands out at 5,500. I'll like RHJ quite a bit if he winds up starting, which could happen. Ibaka at 7,300 I love. If you can pay up, I definitely like AD and Kawhi, but definitely that mid-range of like Harrell, potentially RHJ, Serge Ibaka. Those are the guys I really like at power forward today. So moving on to the center position and just running through center real quick. At the top, you do have Joel Embiid for 9,800 against the Bucks. Don't have a ton of interest in Embiid here. Like, it's not that great of a matchup. He's 9,800 as well, and there's just other guys I would rather pay for. Even same could be said for Jokic. Like, it's a really good matchup for Jokic against the Pelicans. He's 9,400 though, and I think on this slate, I'd probably rather play Kawhi for a little bit cheaper. I'd try and get up to LeBron or AD if possible, get up to Giannis. So I don't really see myself paying up for center on this slate unless I'm playing Anthony Davis at the position. I mean, Jokic, if I'm going to play him, it'd probably be Yahoo where he's $37. I think that's where I have the most interest in him. There isn't really much that I like from this New Orleans-Denver game. If I'm going to target somebody from this game, though, it would definitely be from the Denver side with guys like Jokic, potentially Will Barton. Paul Millsap is cheap. If you want to use him, I think that's fine. But that's really all I like from that late night game. Don't really expect to have much exposure there. But in the mid-range, though, I think Capella is a really strong option against the Warriors. Like, he should just absolutely dominate this Warriors front court. Like, they have nobody that can slow him down. Whether they put Draymond on him or whether they put Draymond or Willie Cauley-Stein or Pascal, Marquise Chris, like, those guys are not going to stop Capella. He went for 57 Draftkings points earlier this season against the Warriors, had 19 points, 16 rebounds, 2 assists, and 6 blocks in 35 minutes. Just a monster game from him. I would expect another pretty big game from Capella on Christmas Day. It's very close between him and Ibaka, who I prefer. I think right now I'd probably lean Ibaka for 200 less because he'll probably be lower owned, but both guys I would have quite a bit of interest in. And on DraftKings, you can roster Ibaka at power forward, so you can fit both those guys into your lineups. Whereas on Yahoo, you have to play Capella at center. I do like him a lot at $31. I just think I'm going to be playing a ton of Ibaka at center, which is definitely going to limit my exposure to someone like Capella. But I do want to talk about one cheap play I like at center, 5K. So Brook Lopez, I like quite a bit in this matchup against the Sixers. Not because it's a good matchup, but because I expect him to play probably 28 to 30 minutes, if not more. We've seen his minutes be pretty consistent just the last 3 games, 33, 27, and 27 minutes. And those 2 games against the Knicks and the Pacers were both blowouts, so we could probably get like 30, 32 minutes from Brook Lopez. And if that's the case, I have a ton of interest in him at 5K. He's been a fantasy point per minute player this season. 30 minutes of him with a fantasy point per minute average. I mean, he projects for probably 30 to 32 DraftKings points. They're going to need his size on Joel Embiid. Giannis isn't going to be able to guard like Embiid and Horford. I think we get like 30 to 32 minutes from Lopez, like I've said. In a game or in games where like he's going up against big front courts, like the Lakers play pretty big, the Knicks play big, the Pacers play big. We're seeing Lopez play about 30 minutes in those games. This is a Philly team that plays big as well, so we could definitely see Lopez get 30 minutes again. Love him at 5K on DraftKings. He feels like one of the better values at the center position if you are going cheap here. On Yahoo, $16. Like, it's hard for me to play Lopez on Yahoo because, I mean, Serge Ibaka is just so damn cheap on Yahoo. And for $3 more, I mean, Ibaka projects for probably 20 more points than Lopez. But I still would like Lopez. Or I still would like him. I just can't play him when Ibaka's $3 more. Like, just give me Ibaka over him. On DraftKings, though, where Ibaka's $2,500 more, like, I definitely like Lopez for only 5K. That's where he really stands out, is on Yahoo, or on DraftKings, at 5K. But then for value, like, you got Lopez, Millsap I think is a fine value. But other than that, I think that's probably it for center, guys. I think we covered everything, talked about all the plays that I like for this Christmas Day slate. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and hopefully it did help you. Like I said at the beginning, you can join the Patreon if you join by Christmas. If you join by 12 o'clock Christmas Day, you will get access to the link to join the $100 free roll contest. You have a chance to win $50 because $50 will be going to first place. Even if you place second or third, you'll still win some money. Second place will get $30. Third place will get $20. So it's a top 3 win. There's probably going to be about 50 to 60 people in there. So it's possible you do get a win. I mean, it's not like you're going to be competing against thousands and thousands of people. It's most likely going to be 50 to 60 people at the max. So definitely check out the content I have available on Patreon. Become a Patreon member and get access to that $100 free roll. I don't think I'm going to have content for the Christmas Day slate, and that'll be the only day this season where I don't put up content Monday through Friday. Like, normally my schedule is to put up NBA content Monday through Friday, but given how much I'm going to be traveling on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, I just don't know if I'm going to have time to like write an article and get a video up, but I will try to if I do have some time, maybe Christmas Eve night if I can get something up for my Patreon members. But good luck on this slate, guys. Drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, hit that notification bell, follow me on Twitter. Have a great Christmas. Thanks again for supporting the channel, watching all these videos. I greatly appreciate it, guys. Have a great Christmas. Enjoy the day. Good luck on this slate. Thanks for watching. Peace.